then, road trip adventure 4, heading north to Nottingham, and we first go along to Northampton. And John abseiled the car park and security got very angry. After that, we went along to the shopping centre, which was such a disappointment. All of the epic lifts of the shopping centre are ruined. The 2 main glass lifts in the shopping centre were sadly not working when we visited, so along to the gated service lifts, which used to be epic old express lifts, but these have been horridly modernised. Northampton was the home of the express lift, but not anymore. Northampton is utterly ruined, and coming here was such a waste of time. Also in the shopping centre, the other car park lifts have also been horribly modernised, and they've been modernised with a very inappropriate logic choice. Digital advanced, where the voice messages in the lift are hard linked to the indicator messages, meaning a lift with weird flaws like this one, the voice messages simply don't work.
Oh, it doesn't speak it. Oh, that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't want to have digital advance is it can only speak stuff that it's got in its library. So what did it say for like 5A, I wonder? Gone for wrong logic here. So if you put in like a floor NW, it will have to have a message for NW in its library, which it doesn't, so it stays silent. You can't set the announcement separate to what's on the text, which is the biggest downfall of this logic. So for custom floors, they shouldn't have gone with this logic.
Should have gone with one of those newest boards with SD card.
Can't even say 5A. Even though this has 5 in its library and it's got A in its library, it can't say 5A. That's how bad digital advance is.
And now we go along to a tower block. The lift here was most likely express, since Northampton was the home of the express lift, but sadly the lift's now been modernised. Annoyingly, for some weird reason, my phone didn't record any sound in this lift. Yeah, my phone's messed up. But we did manage to get onto the roof. And now go along to some newer residential buildings. And the newer residential buildings of Northampton seem to have their fire mode circuit completely messed up. Most modern buildings have a fire mode circuit. This is a completely separate circuit to the fire alarm sounder circuit, which sounds the fire alarms. The fire mode circuit is a circuit that puts all the different elements of the building onto fire mode, such as it releases the main entrance door, opens the smoke vents, and put the lifts onto fire mode. On fire mode circuits, there are often individual buttons that put individual parts of the building onto fire mode, such as this button, which is supposed to put the smoke vent on this floor only onto fire mode for testing. But when you press this button, the entire building goes onto fire mode.
There we have a 3300. There we have the smoke vent. The smoke vent puts just that bit, puts the smoke vent into fire mode, but not the lift into fire mode, because it's only connected to the smoke vent. Oh shit! It puts the lift into fire mode after all.
And along to another residential building which has a very non-compliant fire mode. The button to put a lift onto fire mode is a green emergency release button. That is non-compliant. Green emergency release buttons are only supposed to be used to unlock emergency doors.
Polite notice, emergency release.
0. Worst fire mode ever. That is how you put this weird lift into fire mode. And how do you take it back out of fire mode once you pressed it, because it's now stuck in fire mode? To do that, you need this key. You stick this key in like that, then you pull that down, push it back up again. And it's now out of fire mode.
And now we go along to Leicester, the home of Evans lifts. But sadly, just like Northampton, there seems to be no Evans lifts left. Along to the first building, which has got some old looking lifts, which I assume are Leicester's, except the counterweight looks more like Marriott Scott. Sadly, these have been modernised with a very weird lift logic. Let's surf it.
I don't like that noise. What? Is it like... It's Marriott Scott, isn't it? Marriott Scott Express, what do you think? I'm not sure. Ed.
What? You just smelled some chocolate. There's a chocolate bar in there.
What would you do if I squeeze it and there's a turd coming out?
No, there's a chocolate bar in there.
Go on then.
You hungry? I don't think that's correct. Look how the rope's terminated. That's not correct, is it? And now go to the next building, which is a newer residential building which has got boring Gen 2 lifts. But we managed to get onto the roof.
Hello, Instagram! Today, we're on the roof.
Now to the next building, and I couldn't actually tell if this is a fairly new building or if this is an older building that's been reclad and modernised. This building has generic lifts with new lift logic. These ones are a bit more speedier than expected. This new lift voice, I always find it so weird. It sounds so bad. URBEX lifts. Reasonable speed. That door looks like it can be opened. Nope, it can't, even though it's got a lot of play in it. Don't find much new lift logic in the UK. Flashy button.
16th floor. Doors open.
Pre-door, that's actually nice. Let's surf them. 2 to 1.
Not authorised to use this floor.
Fuck you, I'm getting it anyway. The lower floors of this building are locked. We're gonna surf a lift to see what's there. And it turns out this building has segregated living. The upper floors are for the rich posh tenants. The lower floors are for the poor council tenants. And they have separate entrances to keep the rich and poor separated. It's like apartheid between the rich and poor. Yippee! Modern day apartheid! It feels a bit not morally right. Anyway, when I surfed the lift down to the lower floors, I opened up the door to see what was there. And there was someone out there who saw me on top of the lift. Oh dear, I had to get away quickly. In the next clips in Leicester, for some weird reason, my phone stopped recording audio again, which is very annoying. The next clip is of this weird older residential building. It's a very strange looking building. And the odd thing is, even though the lift goes to the ground floor, the residents are not allowed to use the lift to the ground floor. So they have to go in the entrance and walk up to the first floor before going along to the lift. It's so strange. The lift is an old Otis lift that's been modernised. And here up on the upper floors, it looks strange. And at the other end of the building, there's another building built right next to it. So close, I wouldn't have thought a building would be allowed to be built that close. It must be not much sunlight for people that live in this part of the building. Anyway, let's surf the lift. We now go along to a car park where, oh shit, an oversized police warning! The lifts here are being modernised. They look like really boring generic lifts, but on top they're actually got Otis belt cables. Above this car park there is an office building. I always find office buildings above car parks weird. On this particular car park, the car park lifts don't go to the office building as separate lifts in a separate lift shaft. Although it seems like there's not that much space for more lift shafts, which made the car park seem quite weird. Let's take a look on top of the lifts where there is the Otis belt cables. Oh, that's brilliant, because at this point I had an itchy head, and these belt cables make a brilliant head scratcher. Let's drive down the lift and use these belt cables to massage my head. Because hey, that's why Otis built it, wasn't it? Surely it was. Why else would they put belt cables on this lift? And now we go along to Nottingham and along to the first building, which has 4 Otis Gen 2 lifts, 1 service lift, 1 non-stop lift up to the penthouse and 2 regular lifts. Sadly, the non-stop lift up to the penthouse is locked, so we go into one of the 2 regular lifts.
Up we go. Hello, Mr. Camera. Camera? Hello? Hello? Hey there, camera!
Ninth floor.
It's going to be a safer way if this.
Yeah.
Going down.
And it turns out one of the red lifts doubles up as the fire lift and has to go to all floors. That includes the penthouse, but sadly this floor is locked, so let's surf it up to the penthouse level.
Look at that, that's actually better built than normal, because look at, put the motor onto the side beams. Usually it's just on the tracks. That's better built than normal Gen 2.
And now along to an old Platt Schindler lift, which has sadly been modernised, but it's in an epic, old, rare 60s glass lift shaft. We've just got to surf this one.
Epic. Love the shaft. This is nice. I like this. What floor should we go to? Which one?
Where these are conference rooms.
And now go through this weird tunnel bridge along to the hospital. The hospital has a very interesting 60s looking interior. And it's got some very epic old lifts, such as these first lifts, which are very nice, but a bit modernised. So we go along to some more first lifts. These ones are modernised but not too modernised, which are really nice. So let's ride them up to the secret plant room level.
Oh, we've got my own face in there.
Doors opening.
It doesn't matter. Someone says F on me. Banner.
Doors opening.
Ooh, a secret floor. 5X is locked. The 5X is locked. This plant room is also locked, and that one's locked.
So let's surf the lift.
Don't take any lower kisses somewhere.
On top of the lift! On top!
And now along to the next building, which sadly the lifts have been modernised into boring modern Leicesters.
What do you think of this lift? I think it's too boring to go inside, so we're going to go on the top instead.
Let's surf them.
Going down.
Open.
Please mind the door.
And along to the next place, which has some really nice Schindler Mechanics. Sadly the buttons have been replaced. Sadly these only have the simple 2-speed Mechanic, but this still levels a lot faster than a lot of other lifts.
Schindler, fast doors. There it is. 16. That is fast. I like Schindler doors. Only Schindler make lifts like that. Come on, lift. No, that's locked. 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 Oh, this is what you call a real lift. Speeds up fast, slows down fast, with super speedy doors. Sad about Dewhurst, that's a bit shit. Oh, we'll surf up there.
How is it locked? Is camouflage shut or is it open?
Oh, 2-speed leveling. Oh. Oh shit! A police notice!
We've just got to surf these epic Schindlers.
Whee! This is a classic Schindler. An absolute classic.
And now we go along to Derby. And I know this place is actually called Derby, but what kind of name is Derby? Derby is a much better name. And our first impression of Derby was going in his car park and seeing his sign. Danger! Hypodermic needles. Do not hold or touch the walls or underside of the banisters. Check door handles before using them. Isn't Derby a lovely place? In this car park there is this old express lift. And before we surf it, Jordan first abseils the car park. And let's now surf the lift. And now along to the other one of the car parks. This nice concrete car park, and the lift is the same as the last one. Let's also surf it. And now go along to the shopping centre. This is quite a big shopping centre, it's quite nice, although there isn't really that much to say about it. Let's take a look at some of the lifts here. In this lift, you can safely brake the lift to make it go down to the locked lower floor.
Please.
Mind the doors, please! I've got it.
You got now go to the basement now.
Level 1! Woohoo! Going to level 1! Woohoo! Yippee!
And now along to an eco disc in the shopping centre.
Yeah.
MX-20.
Derby Shopping Centre. This is a bit shit.
No pre-door. It needs improvement.
And now along to the bus station. What kind of bus can we get on? Oh look, Enviro 200 right bus street light. But what's this bus? A car bus? That shouldn't be parked in the bus station. And now go along to this building of Otis Gen 2s.
A lift surfing conference. We're going to teach you how to surf an Otis Gen 2. Go protection. Shall I stuff it?
Go on.
It's a alarmy thing. Look at this. Oh. Oh, that's so loud.
And now go along to an abandoned hotel. This abandoned hotel looks very run down. Let's go and explore it and see what type of lift it's got.
Wow, look at this.
The key.
No, look at this one.
Oh god, a toilet hasn't been smashed in that one.
Oh, this hasn't been held up. That's the old bit.
On the way back home, we find a building with a fairly boring generic lift, but up into a motorroom and there's 2 motors. Turns out there's 2 lifts, but the second lift is abandoned and completely plastered over, so you'd never know there's a second lift there. And the second abandoned lift is a vintage old Otis lift. Well, that's a shit logic. But that's a good logic. Oh, that's a good logic. Oh, that's beefy. Look how beefy that is.
No, that means there's 2.
Would you rather have that 60s Otis looking really beefy, or that much smaller lift? I think I want to have the 60s Otis, which is sadly abandoned. Very abandoned. Oh, look, it hasn't moved for ages. Never seen that before. Normal. Inspection. No, I've never seen that before. Look at that. Look. Look. Shh. Quite dangerous because it's hard to touch that without touching contacts. Look, normal. Inspection. That is nice.
Yeah, then it's the next shot.
Good, I think.